Hello there, and welcome to this information session for Scuba Shack's adventure in the Sea of Cortez on board the Rocio del Mar, which will take place in August of 2024. We put together this presentation to give you a little bit more information on the trip, what it's all about, and what you can expect. So let's get started. First, by way of introduction, my name is Jeff Cinterpino. I'm one of the owners of Scuba Shack in Rocky Hill, Connecticut, and along with my wife Donna, we'll be leading this trip out there to the Sea of Cortez on board the Rocio. We did this trip last year, and we had a lot of fun with it, and it is certainly a very good adventure for everybody involved. Let's start with the trip overview. We will leave on Saturday, August 17th on board the Rocio and return on Saturday, August 24th for 7 nights on board the liveaboard, which departs from Puerto Penasco, Mexico. We'll be diving 6 days in the Midriff Islands, and we'll talk a little bit about where they're at. It includes all your meals and snacks, beverages, local beer and wine. They've incorporated a sunset cruise to a sea lion colony, which was really neat, a whale shark safari on the last day, which is a lot of fun, and you'll be diving nitrox the whole week. Now, the double diver rate for this is $3,150. It's the same rate that you can get on the Rocio site, so we've kept the price in line with what you can buy it direct from Mexican liveaboards. It does not include your airfare, transportation to the Rocio from Phoenix, any crew gratuities or marine park fees, and we'll talk a little bit more about those as we go along. I'm often asked sometimes, where is the Sea of Cortez? Well, the Sea of Cortez is actually officially named the Gulf of California, and if you listen to the crew on the boat, they prefer to call it the Gulf of California. Now, it's a body of water that separates Baja California from Mexico's mainland. It's about 750 miles long. It's a very long stretch, encompasses 62,000 square miles. Now, it was nicknamed the Aquarium of the World by Jacques Cousteau. Why? Because there's so much diversity there. There's 39% of the world's marine mammals, a third of the world's marine cetaceans, close to 900 species of fish, 694 plants. Now, the Gulf is about 5 million years old, and the San Andreas Fault runs right down the middle of it. And oh, by the way, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So let's start by talking about how do we get down to the liveaboard, the Rocio del Mar. Well, the Rocio del Mar departs from and it returns to Puerto Penasco, which is down at the northern tip of the Gulf of California. We travel to the boat from Phoenix, Arizona. That's the easiest way for us from the mainland U.S. When you fly into Phoenix, Arizona, you're going to head to Rocky Point. That's what Puerto Penasco is actually nicknamed as Rocky Point. There's a van company called Head Out to Rocky Point, and it will take you down, leaving on Saturday at 1 p.m. from Phoenix. So you want to plan on getting to Phoenix on Friday before the start of the trip. My advice is to arrive early in Phoenix on Friday so you can deal with any last-minute delays with the airlines, which is what we encountered in July of last year. We got stuck in Chicago for a while, but we finally did make it to Phoenix at 3 in the morning. So you'll want to try and get there a little bit earlier in the day. Now, the current cost for the round-trip van is $150 per person. Now, that does not include your driver gratuity, so you'll want to factor that in to give your driver a little something for the effort going down and coming back. The trip takes about 5 hours, and that's dependent on how quickly we can cross the border. And we cross the border at Lukeville, Arizona, right there on the border between Mexico and Arizona. There's 2 stops along the way, one at Gila Bend and one at Ajo. Now, the head out to Rocky Point transportation includes a large white passenger van. It's a Chevy van that comfortably seats between 10 to 15 passengers. They also tow a trailer. Now that's for all your luggage. So all your luggage goes in that trailer. It's not in the van with you, so you don't have to worry about that. And we load up the van and we head out to Rocky Point. It's a comfortable van. It's not luxurious, but it serves its purpose and it makes the trip down to Rocky Point pretty tolerable. So the journey south, we start in Phoenix, as I said, and then we stop at Gila Bend. And there's a large pilot truck stop or rest stop there. It's very large. It has a lot of different snacks and food that you can purchase, drinks, things like that. If you want to grab a late lunch or something along that line, it's a very good place to stop, very well stocked. And then we head down to Ajo to another small little stop called the Food Mart. Not as nice as the Pilot in Gila Bend, but there is a grocery store right across the street. Some people might want to run in there and grab some stuff if they'd like, but of the two, the Gila Bend is much more to my taste. When we get down to the border at Lukeville, we'll come upon the wall, and we'll park on the other side of that wall. You'll see the driver will take all your bags out of the trailer. That's required because they have to go through Mexican immigration. Now you'll take your bags and you'll walk down alongside that fence. And all the way down to an area. There on the bottom, you'll see an area where you get in line and the Mexican customs official will go through your bag and make sure everything is okay. Once we're through the immigration and customs portion in Mexico, on the other side, you'll see the van will be on the other side and the driver will load your bags back up. And we then head down through Mexico to Puerto Penasco. Arriving at the marina, it's a working marina. It's a dirt parking lot. The van will come in. It's a little deceiving. You're thinking you might be going into a yacht club or something like that, but it's a working marina. A lot of fishing boats and party boats and pleasure boats in that marina. Once you're at the top of the parking lot there, they will unload your bags. Now, you do not have to bring them down to the boat. The crew will come up and grab them, and you can see it's a long walk down to the pier, down the gangway and along the docks there to the Rocio, which is out there in the back of that picture. Long walk down, but don't worry, the crew will bring your bag down there for you. The Rocio del Mar. It is a 110-foot long liveaboard. It was built as a liveaboard dive boat, as a matter of fact. It's got a 25-foot beam, so it's a pretty good-sized boat. It's not overly big, but it is spacious enough. It has 10 staterooms on it with private baths. Now, it is not one of your luxury lots. It's a serviceable boat. It's very spacious, though. There's a salon with sofa, TV, computer, shaded decks on the top and on the second level. It has a large dive deck for all your gear storage and a spacious camera table, and you can have power up your lights and your camera right out there. And then all the power is 110, just like we are at home. Very nice boat, built as a liveaboard, and it is of the two that the Mexican liveaboards run. This is their top end boat. Let's talk a little bit about the layout, the cabin layout. It has 4 decks that we'll participate in. Below deck is the dining area. You'll see it up front there. It will show you a picture of that in a little bit, but the dining area is on the lower level. Everybody eats together down there. And then on the second level, you will see that there are 7 or 8 staterooms there, double occupancy. 6 of them have bunks. There are 2 bunks in each one, and they each have their own private bath. Up front on 7 and 8, they have a queen size bed for people there, and then up on you'll see on that main deck, there's also the dive deck in the back, which steps down to the dive platform. Now, on the upper deck, you'll see there are 2 more staterooms right behind the bridge. They have a double bed plus a bunk in them, and they also have their own bathrooms up there as well. Right behind those 2 staterooms is the salon. It's spacious. It's got plenty of couch space, beanbag chairs, things like that, where you can also grab your soda, beer, or wine. And they also serve snacks in the salon between dives in the afternoon. Right behind the salon is a covered lounge for sitting out. There are some chairs out there, a very comfortable space to get out of the sun and pick up a little bit of a breeze. And then finally on the top deck, you'll see up there, there's a area for a barbecue, which will have a dinner up there after the first night sunset cruise. It's the sun deck. There are lounge chairs. They put picnic tables up. It's covered. It's a great place to catch rays or to relax if you choose to get into the sun. Here are some pictures of the cabins. You'll see the bunk beds there in the one cabin, the queen bed. In the forward cabins. Up top there is the sun deck with the lounge chairs. And then you'll see the shaded deck that's right behind the salon. On the far right, there is a picture of the salon. You'll see the couches in there along with the TV and all the other things that go into the salon. Like I said, they have beanbag chairs that people throw around and sit down on. So a lot of people spend time in the salon because it is air conditioned, and it's also a place to get snacks or drinks. And then down there in the center is the dining area. You'll see it can comfortably accommodate the entire crew or entire guests, which will hold up to 20 people. So where exactly are the Midriff Islands? Well, the Midriff Islands are circled there on the map on the left, and they're about 130 miles southwest of Puerto Penasco. On the right, I've blown up that area a little bit so you'll see all the different islands in there. We will start our dives in Isla Ángel de la Guarda. We'll start at the north end of the island for some dives and then switch down to the south end for a day of diving. And then we'll head all the way down to Isle San Pedro Marta, which is down at the south end of the Midriff Islands, before we head back up towards Isle Saspitos and then over to Bahia de Los Angeles, and that's where we will encounter our whale shark safari. Here's a view of the overall voyage. We start in Puerto Penasco, and as I said, head down to Ángel de la Guarda, San Pedro Marta, Isle Saspitos, Bahia de Los Angeles, and then on our last after Friday afternoon, we get back underway and head back up to Puerto Penasco. So let's talk a little bit about the dive deck and the dive organization. As you can see, the dive deck is pretty spacious. What you'll be given is an assigned space on the dive deck when you arrive. Underneath each station, there will be a milk crate, and that's where you can store all of your equipment for the week. You don't ever have to bring it back to your room or anything like that. You just keep everything out on the dive deck. There's you'll set up your BC once. You put it on your tank, and then what they will do is they will fill your tank with your BC on it already. So one time and you're done. There's a hang bar there on the left side or on the port side of the boat for hanging up your wetsuit, and that they pretty much dry out overnight, and then you're ready to go the next morning. We have a camera table, a very big camera table up there for charging. It gets a little bit crowded when there's a lot of divers with cameras and lights and things like that. So you'll want to make sure that you mark everything before you put it on the camera table. Otherwise, it can get mixed up. Now, how do they do the diving? There are 3 groups that they assign. So if the boat is full, you'll have 7, 7, and 6 for 20 divers full. There's 3 groups. They'll go A, B, and C, and they move these groups through at 15-minute intervals. So they'll start with Group A, and the Group A will get their dive brief, get geared up, and then get on the pangas. And then Group B will start, and then Group C. But they rotate the order every day. So the first day will be Group A, and then the second day Group B will go first, C will be in the middle, and A will wrap it up. So it rotates around. And like I said, there's 15 minutes between the dive teams. So let's talk about the dive platform in the pangas. So when you're on the dive deck, what you're going to do is gear up. So you put all your gear on, your weights in, you will grab your camera, and then you will walk down to the dive platform. There's 5 steps there that you'll walk down. The pangas will be up on the back of the dive platform, and you will sit up on the rubber bumper of the panga and just slide your legs over, and you're into this little Zodiac. They call them pangas, but it's a little Zodiac boat that will get you out to the dive site. The dive sites are only 1 to 2 minutes away. And we get in pretty close to the shore, and the Rocio, being the size that it is, can't go all the way in there as we would want to do, so we have to take these little pangas in. The whole group will back roll in as a group. The panga driver will stand up, make sure everybody's ready, and you'll give the countdown, and at the count of 3, you'll do your back roll in. The dive leader will make sure your fins are on that panga so you don't have to carry them down. But like I said, you are responsible for your camera. Let's talk about a typical dive day. Well, the first dive is before breakfast, but some people like to have something before the dive. So they put out a continental breakfast with toast, yogurt, bagels, coffee, juices, things like that. So you can grab a continental breakfast before your first dive, which is typically somewhere in around the 8 o'clock time frame. You do your first dive, you'll come back and you'll have a sit-down breakfast, which is plated, so you'll get your eggs to order or whatever you like for breakfast. And then in the mid-morning, you'll do dive 2 before lunch. Now, after that, you'll come back, you'll have your lunch, and then about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, depending on the day, you'll do your dive 3. And after dive 3, there's dinner, and then a night dive. We'll do probably 2 night dives, and they adjust the schedule and the times based on whether we're doing a night dive or not. But that's typical day of diving. What are you going to see out there? All kinds of stuff. This is just a smattering of the things that you'll get to encounter. Sea lions. Probably a third or more of the dives will be diving with sea lions, and you jump in, and they'll jump in off the beach and come down and have a look see at what you're doing down there. If you're into nudibranchs, there's tons of nudibranchs, and they're not small. There's some big nudibranchs in the Sea of Cortez, and you'll be able to find those. There's a place called Nudibranch Cave, which had an incredible life of nudibranchs. And then there's all sorts of critters. If you like little rays, there's tons of little rays. You'll see tons of arrow crabs, king angelfish, Cortez angelfish, jawfish, and you'll even get to encounter the large giant jawfish, which is really a pretty cool little critter down there. So sea lions, nudibranchs, critters, fish life, coral, it has it all. It's an incredibly biodiverse environment. One of the highlights is that first night that we're finished diving is a sunset cruise, and what we'll do is get on these little pangas again, and they'll take us out to a sea lion colony, and you'll get up close about 20 yards maybe or so off the beach, and you'll be able to see all the sea lions and their behavior, sleeping, swimming around, barking at you. It's really an interesting situation. So a lot of fun to go out there on the water, encounter the sea lions, watch the sunset, and then head back to the Rocio for that dinner that night, which is a Mexican cookout on the top level. So really a really very interesting first night at sea with the sunset cruise. Here's another really fun activity. On the last day, that Friday afternoon, when we get to Bahia de Los Angeles, it's the whale shark safari. And this is a safari. We'll get into a different kind of panga, a little bit bigger, rigid boat with a canopy on it. And we will head out in search of whale sharks. While there's no guarantee that we'll see them, it's pretty much a given that they're out there and we're going to find them. So it's a search. The boats will go out and they'll search for the whale sharks. Now, the way they do this is you'll snorkel with the whale sharks, because the whale sharks are pretty much at the surface, and that's the best way to encounter them. And they only allow 4 snorkelers in at a time. So the way that they do this is that once they spot the whale shark, the panga driver will position the boat right in front of the whale shark so that the snorkelers can jump in and swim towards the whale shark as the whale shark is coming at them. We were very fortunate on one of our jumps, the first jump that we made, where the whale shark just didn't swim by. It decided that it would circle us and come back around. So it was a really incredible encounter with whale sharks. And it's in the wild, so we're out there hunting them. They're not being fed, and they have a very limited interaction with the whale sharks. Now, one of the things is that these local fishermen, they've stopped fishing to be able to do the whale shark encounters. So they're very eco-conscious here. And one of the things that they do is when you're done with this, they will sell T-shirts. I think they're like $15 a piece that they'll come on board. And if you buy a T-shirt, you're supporting the local economy there. And they're keeping things pristine. The water's incredibly clean. There's no trash, and it's not being overfished. So we're very fortunate that these fishermen have embraced the eco-conscious environment and are supporting the whale sharks. Some final tidbits. The group should plan to meet in Phoenix on Friday the 16th. The van will leave from our hotel. We're still working on some options there. We're thinking about the Residence Inn at the airport. We stayed there last summer, and it was pretty convenient. If we have a group there, we will leave from the hotel, and that will be at 1 o'clock on August 17th for our journey out to Rocky Point. And then finally, the gratuities, they can be paid in cash or by credit card. It's usually 10 to 15% of our charter fee, so think about it in terms of $300 to $450. Now, the way they do this is that they take everything that's in that they get from all of the passengers, and they split it between the boat crew. And the crew, I think, is 10 to 12 people. So this is what they depend on a lot. So make sure that you think about the gratuities properly. Like I said, $300 to $450. If you choose to give something direct to an individual, you're free to do that. But like I said, they like to see a donation or a gratuity so that they can split it amongst everybody. Why cash versus credit card? Well, cash they get as soon as they get back into port, because they don't have to wait for it to go through the office and process through the credit card. So they do prefer, they like cash, but again, you can do both cash or credit card. There's also marine park fees. They're 100 pesos per day. So over 6 days, that's about $36. Those are not prepaid. So plan on paying your marine park fees. Now, the way they collect the gratuities and the marine park fees or anything else is on that last Friday as we're heading back up after the whale shark safari. Everybody will gather in the salon at some point, and they will settle up with the boat. If you had rental gear, that will happen as well. You'll pay for your rental gear. One of the things that some people have asked is, what about larger tanks? They do have a Steel 100s. It's $50 for the week, or that's what the price was. It may change, but it's $50 for the week. And they do have a limited quantity. I think the last time I was on there, I saw about 8 of them. 8 or 9, so we will check on that. If you want a Steel 100, we'll have to see if they can accommodate that. Now, one final thought. A lot of this information that I've gone through today is included in the Mexican Liveaboard website. It's www.mexicanliveaboards.com. And if you go to the section of their website called Know Before You Go and select the Midriff Islands on board the Rocio, it will tell you a lot of the things in detail that I've talked about. They've recently updated it in July of 2023, so we should be pretty much up to date. I would expect the water temperature this time of year that we're going to be at its highest peak, probably 80 to 82. I was very comfortable in a 3 mil wetsuit when I was out there, so you can plan accordingly. If you get cold, you might want to consider a 5 mil. If you are overheated a lot, you could go to a dive skin or something like that. We have people diving in all sorts of gear, from t-shirts and rash guards and shorts to dive skins to 3 mils to 5 mils. So it's a personal preference based on, here's what the water temperature is. It's going to be about 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's it for our information session here on the trip for Scuba Shack's trip to the Rocio del Mar, which will happen in August of 2024. If you have more questions or want more information, please contact Scuba Shack, info@scubashackct.com, or give us a call, 860-563-0119.